Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a really ornate, sweeping design and thought, oh, that's totally Art Deco? Only to have someone say, nope, that's Art Nouveau. Don't worry, you are not alone. For more than 100 years, these two design powerhouses have been getting mixed up. So today, we're going to be detectives. We're going to crack this case once and for all.
Okay, so let's get right into it. The mission, if you choose to accept it, is pretty simple. We're going to arm you with all the visual clues you need to become an expert spotter. Seriously, by the time we're done here, you'll be able to just walk into a museum or glance at a building or a poster and know exactly what you're looking at.
And here they are, our two main suspects. On the left, you've got a poster by Alphonse Mucha from way back in 1894. And on the right, a self-portrait by Tamara Delimpica from 1929. Now, they're both incredibly stylish, right? Both were revolutionary for their time. But they're speaking completely different visual languages. These two images, they really get to the heart of the confusion. So let's break down what makes them so different.
To really solve this mystery, we've got to go back in time. So, our investigation starts with the older of the two styles, the one that really set the stage for modern design as we know it, Art Nouveau.
You have to understand, the whole reason for this new art was basically a rebellion. I mean, artists at the end of the 19th century were just fed up. They were tired of all the stuffy, old-fashioned styles they were taught in school, and they were horrified by the soulless cookie-cutter stuff coming out of factories. Their solution? To create a total work of art, a Gesamtkunstwerk, where everything, and I mean everything, from a doorknob to a whole building, was a beautiful, handcrafted piece inspired by the natural world.
So what are the fingerprints of Art Nouveau? What are we looking for at the crime scene? Well, clue number one is the famous whiplash curve. Think long, flowing, organic lines, kind of like vines or flower stems. The whole style is just obsessed with nature. Insects, peacock feathers, you name it, and especially the female form, usually with that long flowing hair. Oh, and the colors, that's another big giveaway. They're usually pretty muted, earthy colors you'd actually find in nature. In fact, those lines were so distinct that critics in Paris actually came up with a mocking nickname for it, style nouveau, which literally means noodle style. And, when you look at all that tangled, flowing hair in Art Nouveau pieces, you can totally see why. It's a perfect description, even if it was meant as an insult. And our investigation shows this style wasn't just for paintings. Oh no, it exploded into everyday life. The architect Hector Grimard designed these incredible entrances for the Paris metro that look like these fantastical iron plants just growing right out of the sidewalk. They got so famous that for a while, people in Paris just called the whole style Le Style Metro. But here's where the case gets a little deeper. It wasn't all just pretty flowers and fairies. Art Nouveau had a darker, kind of mystical side to it. Artists were really into the mysterious parts of nature. Creatures of the night, like this iconic black cat by Toulouse-Lautrec. There was a real fascination with symbolism, with dreams, and the alluring, sometimes even unsettling side of the natural world. Now, if we have to name a prime suspect, a person of interest who made this style famous, it's gotta be Alphonse Mucha. His career just blew up in 1894. He designed a last-minute poster for the legendary actress Sarah Bernard, and boom, the posters were an absolute sensation, plastered all over Paris. Pretty soon, Le Style Mucha and Art Nouveau were basically the same thing. But then, World War I happened, and the world changed completely. That romantic, nature-filled world of Art Nouveau, it just felt out of step with this new era of machines, speed, and raw ambition. The world needed a new style, and that brings us to our second suspect, Art Deco. Okay, so if Art Nouveau was a reaction against the machine, Art Deco was a full-on celebration of it. This was the style of the Jazz Age, of massive ocean liners and soaring skyscrapers. It was all about luxury, glamour, and this incredible belief in progress. The name itself, by the way, comes from a big exhibition in Paris in 1925, the Exposition Internationale des Arts Décoratifs et Industriels Modernes. So what are the telltale signs of Art Deco? First, just forget all those flowing curves. Here, you need to think bold, geometric, and symmetrical shapes. Look for that streamlined energy, sharp angles, zigzags, chevrons, sunbursts. The colors change too. Unlike Art Nouveau's earthy tones, Deco loved high contrast, expensive-looking materials, and bright, bold colors. And the inspiration? It shifted from nature to industry, but also, interestingly, from the angular art of ancient places like Egypt and the Aztec Empire. Just take a look at this pattern. See how it's all built on repetition and these sharp, clean lines? It's orderly, it's powerful, and it is 100% man-made. There is absolutely nothing noodle-like about this. This is the logic and the power of the machine turned into beautiful art. And the ultimate expression of all this? The skyscraper. I mean, buildings like the Chrysler Building in New York are pure Art Deco. They just soar upwards with these powerful vertical lines, and they're crowned with these amazing geometric decorations, like this terraced sunburst peak. It's a monument to human ambition and pure technological power. And just like Mucha was the face of Art Nouveau, Tamara de Lempecka was pretty much the official artist of the Art Deco elite. Our person of interest here, she painted these cool, independent, modern women of the Jazz Age. Her portraits were sleek, bold, and just impossibly glamorous. She perfectly captured the whole vibe of the time. All right, we've profiled our two suspects, we've gathered all the evidence, and now it is time for the final lineup. Let's put them side by side and make the differences crystal clear. Here it is, the evidence board. On one side, you have the pre-war style, totally inspired by nature, all organic and flowing. On the other side, the post-war style, inspired by machines, geometric, sharp, and sleek. You can see how they're not just different to look at, they represent two completely different ways of seeing the world, separated by a massive world war. I mean, just look at the lines. On the left, Mucha's signature noodle hair. It's pure Art Nouveau. It's like a climbing vine. On the right, this Vanity Fair cover has that sharp, streamlined feel of Art Deco. It's like a speeding locomotive. The difference is just undeniable. And how about their muses? The Art Nouveau woman is almost this mystical creature, right? A nature goddess wrapped up in flowing fabrics. But the Art Deco woman, she is a poised, independent, jazz-age flapper. Her world isn't a magical forest, it's the modern city. And you see the exact same contrast in their architecture. Art Nouveau gives us that handcrafted, plant-like entrance to the Paris subway. Art Deco gives us the machine-made, towering ambition of the Chrysler Building. It really is the difference between growing from the earth and scraping the sky. So, there you have it. The visual evidence is, well, it's overwhelming. While they might look a little similar from a distance, when you get up close, they are worlds apart. Case closed. But, the story doesn't actually end there. Seeing it on a timeline is so important. Art Nouveau was the style of the Belle Epoque, that beautiful era before World War I. Then the war happened, and it was like a massive cultural reset button. Afterwards, the world was ready for something new, something modern, and Art Deco defined the roaring 20s and 30s. They aren't really rivals, they're just two very different chapters in the story of modern design. And what's so fascinating is how these styles keep coming back. Decades after it disappeared, Art Nouveau had this huge comeback. Its flowing lines and organic shapes were totally rediscovered by psychedelic artists in the 1960s. So yeah, that Grateful Dead poster you see everywhere, it owes a massive debt to Alphonse Mucha. How cool is that? So in the end, the difference really is this simple. Art Nouveau reacted to its time by pushing back against the industrial age. Art Deco celebrated its time by embracing the machine age. Which leads to one last question for you to think about. What are the big forces shaping our world today, and what style will future detectives be looking back on to try and understand us?